Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another live with Sandra V show. And guess who's here tonight?
Kenny V.
It's so good to have you back. You're over in the sideline. So, anyway, if we are meeting for the first time, my name is Sandra, and this is, as he said,
Kenny
V. For all of you that are here for the first time, please let us know by putting in the comments below, hey, I'm new, so that we can say hello to you, welcome you, and for all of our regular viewers, that they can say the same to you as well. Now, our goal is to educate, inspire, and promote others within the industry who share our same vision. And I think tonight that you are going to be educated and inspired to use another type of Roman shade lift system. It's a special one. There's a lot of buzz going on around on all the different groups out there. So I'm so excited to be able to cover this one tonight. Obviously, we're going to be promoting one of our goals, safety shade. And if we get to the second system tonight, we will definitely promote those folks as well. I think this one's going to take up pretty much of the evening. What do you think? Sure. Anyway, like I said, if you're here for the first time, let us know. For our regular viewers, welcome back. And above all, please share this out, because it, like I say every week, it gives Facebook a chance to notify the folks who said they want to come and join us tonight. Okay? Let's see. Who can we welcome to the show real quick?
Sylvia May.
Hey, Sylvia.
Ruth, Kathy, and Teresa, and Sharon. And
Okay.
Scott.
And Scott, and Ruth, and Kathy.
And Julie Coleman.
And Julie, welcome everyone. Scott, I certainly hope you feel better. A lot of you know Scott Robbins, right? Well,
Yeah.
who other Scott is there, right? There's only one.
Well, that's why
The one and only.
he didn't need a last name.
I hope that you are feeling better. Know that you've had a little bit of an accident. He didn't mean to joke, but he said you had a little bit of a right. Was it a right angle going?
That was a nice 45-degree angle.
Hope you're feeling better. And for everyone else out there, welcome to the show. Now, I'm going to get down and dirty. I do want to let you all know. I'm going to try something new tonight. We have a guest here with us. So let me see if I can bring her on real quick. There she is. Can everybody see? Hey, Jacqueline.
Hi, everybody.
I hope you all can hear her. She can hear me, and let me know if you can hear Jacqueline. This is Jacqueline Weber from Safety Shade, and you are the...
What's your title?
I'm Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Safety Shade. Yeah.
I forgot to write your official title
Yeah.
down. I apologize, but welcome to the show. And,
I mostly just, I'm sort of a jack of all trade, master of none.
there you go. Well, we have Jacqueline on hand tonight because, as you know, like we just said, she works for Safety Shade. And so if we have any questions that I can answer, or any questions that you have for her, we can certainly bring her on and ask her one-on-one. So she'll be here, she can hear me, and I can ask her a question. And Jacqueline, you can chime in anytime.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, all right. Okay, so last week, I just want to, let me start from the beginning. I'm all excited about tonight, can you tell? Last week, we began this series of discussing the Roman shade lift systems. And if you were here, you know that we started this series with we're talking about the clutch systems. So real quick, I want to clear up something, because I had a lot of you reach out to me this past week with some questions. Now, this is the Forest Group RBS system that we spoke about. And with the clutch system, you see here, this is where the clutch is on the end, and it holds the operating chain. Okay, and this As you know, if you've used them, allows the shade to go up and down. Okay. But then we also have the lift cords on the back of the shade.
Okay.
And the lift cords are where how you string the shade, okay, for all your pleats. Okay, does that help? I know a lot of folks get a little bit confused about, cords. And so this is the operating cord, which is really a chain. And then here are the lift cords, if I can find them, I'm looking backwards. Okay, does that help? All right. Now, with the lift cords, you will string.
Show. I can't. Can you watch the
Jacqueline?
TV on my bedroom?
Jacqueline, I can hear you. No, Jacqueline. Okay. Anyway, we can hear her talking there. Anyway, with the lift cords here, they'll go through the rings on the back of the shade, and we have ring locks on these shades. Now, if you do not use the ring locks, you can use ladder tape. How many of you out there have used the ladder tape before? Okay, and so these ladder tapes, I'm sorry, you use your rings, but the ladder tape will go over the rings, and you will wind your cord through the ladder tape. And there's also one more option that you have
On my TV.
to string your shade, and that is if you use the encased shroud tape. And let me see if I can get a close up on this here. Okay, and so what this is, it's just like, it's like a woven sleeve. And I don't know if you can see it, open it up, and it has a lift cord inside. All right, and you just stitch this woven sleeve carefully onto the back of your shade, and this goes into your lift system so that you're to lift your shade up and down. Okay.
Is it easy to sew the sleeve down without attaching the cord?
Yes and no. You do have to be a bit careful with that. And mainly when I've used it, I've only maybe used it once when it first came out. And I just stitched very carefully. If you pull it, you can see where it expands. And I would just stitch on each side, okay, to hold it down. Okay? Now, any questions or comments yet?
People are just saying hello.
Okay.
And Scott mentioned he's on the mend.
Good to hear, Scott. Okay, so I just wanted to explain that one more time about the lift and the operating, and then the lift cords. Okay. All right. Now, many of you have asked me about the headrail systems, the lift systems. Are they compliant? Yes, they are. But you must remember this. Not only are the headrails compliant, but you must adhere to the standards when you fabricate and install your shade. Okay, and Will Lynch from the president of Safety Shade was on the show back in December, and he sat down and went through every one of the points that we have to follow when it comes to making sure that our shades are compliant. And I've taken that excerpt out of that December 4th video, and I've put it onto a separate video on my YouTube channel. So if you want to go and find out about all the different standards that we must adhere to, then go to the YouTube channel livewithsandrav.com, and you will see that particular video out there. Okay, and listen to it. But basically, they're saying that our rings must be 8 inches or less apart vertically. Our cords, our lift cords, must come in at least 2 inches on each side of the shade. And we must use either the cord with the rings and the ring locks, which we get from Safety Shade, Or you can use the ladder tape, or you can use the encase, um, uh, what is this called? The encase shroud tape. I'll call it lift cord. All right. And then when it's installed, you need to make sure that your operating chain is properly through a tension device which is attached to the wall. And it just can't be willy-nilly either. Go and read those guidelines, and there is a certain way you have to install. And do you want to speak about that?
It just depends on which cord tensioning device you use. They have the ones that keep constant tension on it, and it's attached either inside the window, or it has a L-shaped mounting option also. And that one has a constant tension on it. The more common one that you see, which I wouldn't know where I was even talking about, so I don't have a sample.
Sorry.
Is it has like a plastic U, and it has a spring on it, and the cord feeds through there, and then you got to keep a little bit of the lift chain a little bit loose on that, because you got to be able to get it to go through the plastic loop. Okay. So now that I was put on the spot for that, we'll make sure we have another one of those next week.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. He came in late tonight. As always. Okay, and also you need to put labels on your shade. Okay, you can put them on the back of the headrail or up underneath on the dust board with your name, the name of your business, the address, the date that the shade was made, your client's name, whether it's your the end user or the designer. And if you work with a designer, you need to put the PO number or some sort of markings of that the order that the designer had placed with you. Okay. So if you have any questions, go to the YouTube channel and listen to Will speak, or you can also go to the WCMA, and there are all the guidelines there. And I have put the link in the feed below for you. Okay? All right. Any questions? Let me say hello real quick before we get going on this shade tonight. So, okay, and Jenny Caden, hey, one of our artisan ladies, and Karen Levins for United Supply, and Donna Griffin, hey there, and Jane, afraid she's actually on time. Joanne Weeperdink, hi Joanne, and let's see, Scott, good, I'm glad you're on the men, and Jacqueline Weber, and of course is here, and Julie Coleman, how are you, Julie? And Ruth is here. How you doing, Ruth? We got snow here in North Carolina today. Not here, but so we were thinking of you. And of course, Teresa and Sharon and Kathy Tucker, Sylvia May. Can you see? You said you couldn't see anything. Let me know that you can see.
I think that was prior before you turned the cameras on.
Oh, okay. All right. And Teresa Black, hey Teresa, I think you're new here. All right, everyone.
If you're new, where are you located at?
Yes, tell us where you're located from. Okay, well tonight we are going to start covering the spring systems. And this first spring system that we are going to talk about, like I said, is just been a big buzz out there. What's great about this lift system, by the way, the name of it is the CordlessPRO Professional Wideband Lift Sheet System from Safety Shade, and it is patented, by the way. This is the only cordless system on the market. Right, Jacqueline?
It's absolutely one of the, well, let's just say it's the best cordless system. It's actually a really nice cordless system. I think there may be some other systems out there. This was the original. This also was, if you recall, Bill Vestal was one of the founders of Safety Shade, and this was Bill Vestal's very first invention. And we've just kind of given it a little bit of a facelift with this new spring in the headrail. And we also, as you know, it comes motorized as well.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
It does. Okay, and everyone, let me know. Say yes, we can hear Jacqueline. This is the first time I brought someone in to the live show like this, so I want to make sure that it's working. So, okay, all right. Thanks, Jacqueline.
You're welcome.
Okay. So what I'm going to do first is I want to show you the shade. Once I show you the shade finished, then I'm going to talk about the different components of the shade, and then I'm just going to give you like a little overview of how it is assembled. And if you have questions, please shout them out. I know some of you have just purchased them, you're trying to use them, and some of you have them or you don't know anything about them. So, but I will let you know that the complete instructions are on the Safety Shade website. Right, Jacqueline?
That's correct.
Okay, so let me show you the shade. So you can see how nicely we have a nice stack here. I'm going to turn it around. And Scott, look what I'm using. I still need a website information from you, Scott, if you're still out there, so I can replace some of my pieces on the valet, the workman valet. Actually, you know Scott out there, and this is his invention. So, and Scott, feel free to put information in how someone can purchase one of these from you. I have two. I really need more. Okay. All right. Well, here is the back of the shade, and you see I have my dust cover here, my dust board. And then here is the system, and here is a tab, and I'm just going to go ahead and just pull it down, because like I said, this is a spring system. We can't see me put it all the way down, and when it's down, you see this, you see a lift sheet, and if I kind of pull it to the side, then you will see the back of my shade. You'll see these little plastic things here. They're actually called J guides. And they go down each side of the shade, and they are spaced like evenly up the shade.
Are they sewn to the fabric shade?
Yes.
Or?
And I will tell you how they are put on there. Just a few moments, but good thought. Thank you. And if I lift this little tab up here, you can see my shade. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's these little battens that run, and they are attached to the inside of the J guides, and they run clear across the back of the shade. All right, so you can see how nicely this comes down, and if I pull it, it comes back up, and I actually have it set to stop at this location. And what's good about this shade, and this is one of the improvements that you all made, Jacqueline, right, is that you now have a stop, so we can stop it wherever we want it to stop, right?
That's exactly right. And one other thing about the spacing between those J guides, and if I'm going ahead of you, let me know.
No, go ahead.
One great thing about it is you can space those any distance apart. And the reason why is because there's no cords. So you don't have to stay within that 8-inch standard, because you're actually, you can put the J guides 10 inches apart, 12 inches apart, whatever is good for your shade. And I know too, with the shade such as the one you have, the pleat pattern is so popular right now. And that's one beautiful thing about the wideband lift sheet, is if you have, say, a pattern that has a 9-inch repeat or a 10-inch repeat, you can still make a Roman shade out of it, because you can put those battens any distance apart, which makes this system not only cordless but very attractive for that option as well.
Yep, absolutely. It is so great. I will tell everyone that this has been up here in the studio, and I've had clients come by and just love it, and they're like, "Oh, I want one." So it's a great system. Okay.
Excuse me. Scott's saying that he's having trouble hearing. You've got the volume all the way up.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, Scott.
Well,
or is it Jacqueline that you can't hear?
It was Scott that says there's a problem with the volume.
Okay. 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 Let me check and see. Let me check real quick, and to make sure that you can hear. I've got my mic up all the way? Let me just double check. Okay. Why don't you talk about something while I check?
Well, last week, so let me get some stuff to get in front of the camera here.
You want to talk about the L bracket? There's someone had.
Last week we talked about on the RBS system how we mount if it's mounted on the board and you don't decide not to use the actual brackets that come with the RBS system. That normally we use the angle iron, and I have various sizes in my vehicle, ranging from 1 inch all the way up 4 inch. And then I do have some larger ones, some I think it's 6 on one side and 8 on the other. But these are the common ones. Mostly, if you're doing a 3.5 inch board, I'm using the 2.5 inch angle iron. But I have different sizes. What I like about if it's possible to use the RBS system or other lift systems on a board, and it's you're all right to put it on a larger headrail, is that a larger projection, is that when you put the angle iron through to support it, you may be able to put a screw in the front of the shade, attaching it to the angle iron, right where my finger's at. You can't see it because everything's white. And that will save you from having to remove the RBS system from the brackets. And then you have to use a smaller screw, sometimes smaller headed screw, to attach it. Because one of the things that Sandra mentioned that she uses to allow me to get some space in there for brackets or other installers is she puts some spacers, little washers between the bracket. And let's see if I can hold it up where you can see it. Little flat washers. I'm not sure what's the best camera angle. Anyways, so she puts a couple of those between the bracket, the top of the bracket and the board, and that creates a little bit of space in there, and it's enough space to slide your angle iron through there, because otherwise sometimes it might get a little tight in order to do that. Now, if you don't have the opportunity to put it on a larger projection board because you don't want the shade to be sticking out, say it's on a door or whatever, not inside the window, then you have to take the brackets off and use the smaller angle iron, maybe 1.5, because the board's probably only going to be a maximum maybe 1.5 or 2 inch board type thing. But if for those who are in the installation business or want to be, it's important to have different size screws. This is a number 6 inch screw, and there may be a class, maybe she'll let me get in front of the camera and I can talk about some basic installation stuff. But the number 6 screw, which is the diameter of where the threads are, they tend to have a smaller head on the top. And so if you have a tight space and you have to take the headrail off in order to attach it to the angle iron, then you may need to get a smaller head screw. And if you can't use a hex head, then you may have to use a bugle neck, which is a flat one on there. And I'm not exactly sure, she doesn't have the camera set up. But when we do, when I get an opportunity to talk about different screws and things like that, we'll have an overhead camera and we'll be able to zoom right in on those and stuff. So, anyways, that was just my little 2 cents as a filler. And
Thank you.
she's throwing me out, so
Yep.
it was nice to be able to talk.
Yeah. Sorry, but I think you can hear us now. Yeah, he's making up for lost time. But yeah, I think y'all, maybe I just need to talk up louder. I've switched mics, and so hopefully you can hear me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just show you the different components. And I'm going to start with the aluminum tube. And the aluminum tube, if you all used them before, you know that they usually come with this little, it's almost like a double stick tape. And we always wonder, what do we use it for? Well, you're going to find out tonight that you will use it for this system. Okay. Now this tube is, Jacqueline, it's 1.5 inches, right?
It's a one, yeah, one.
Okay. 1.5 inch.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And Okay, and then let me see if I can get this here. Okay, get this on here, 1.5 inch tube. And I'm going to adjust that volume one more time. Sorry, you folks, we usually don't have these issues. I've had to, this is 1 second. Okay. Okay.
That's back where you were, I think, originally.
All right, we're good. Okay. That's what I get for changing equipment. Sorry. Okay. So we have the tube. We have the spring. And there are 2 different size springs. There is one that's medium, and it is 26 inches long. And then we have the heavy duty one that is 30 inches long. Okay. Then we have, for this system, we have the battens. And these are just little metal rods. And if you remember, I said those are the ones that are on the back of the shade.
Just hold one at a time, honey.
Okay, hold one at a time. There's one.
They're like 1/8 of an inch in diameter.
Yeah. And they're pretty strong. You will have 2 of these acrylic rods. We have our stop, and this is what goes inside of the tube, and where you can adjust or set the height, the top limit, I should say, of the shade. This is the lift band sheet, and this comes with a blackout as well as the 10% openness. We have our these, I call them the brackets, but they're adjustable. They're adjustable wheels, and this way we can turn to set the height, as well as turn to wind the shade a little bit more. Correct.
That's correct. You can adjust the spring loaded. You know, you can have your spring a little bit tighter once it's installed, or a little bit looser once it's installed, and you can you know, that's sort of how you set your shade to stop where you want it to.
Okay. Yeah. And then this is our rotator tool, the rotation tool, and this here does not come within the kit. It is something that you will need to purchase separately. Right.
And you only have to buy it one time.
Okay.
You know, you can use it over and over again. And one thing about the springs, the medium spring will lift 15 pounds, and the large spring will lift up to 20, which is a pretty big shade.
Yeah.
I mean, for both, you know, 15 and 20 pounds is a pretty good size shade. So. Yeah.
Very good. Okay. So now what I'll do is I will go back and kind of go through how you assemble this. And you basically you take your tube and your spring, you know, goes into the left side, and this is when I say the left side, let me turn it around. It is the back left side of the shade. So you're facing the back, and this will slide in there, and there's some grooves where this in here goes into the grooves inside of the aluminum tube, and then the stop will go in on the right hand side. And again, you have to align it up with, let me turn this around here. You can see in the camera there's some little grooves in there, and the stop has grooves in it also, and you will line those up and put those into the inside of the tube. And then at that point you will, let me get the right screen here. And then at that point you will take your rotation tool and go ahead, and there's a chart out there, and Jacqueline, you have that chart on your website as well, and you will look at the you go ahead, right, Jacqueline, and look at the length of the shade and the weight of the shade, and it will determine how many rotations that you will need to do onto the spring, correct?
That's correct. And then say you get to your installation and you start to put it up and it's not tight enough, or you feel like you can that's what the wheel is all about. You can adjust that wheel
Right.
to make it looser or tighter.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's the beauty of this system is even after it's installed, you can still adjust it, which I think is
Yes.
we can control it. And I like to be able to control, how much tension's on the spring, and you don't have to take the whole thing apart to do it, which
Exactly.
is very exciting. Now, J guides, you got the J guides, right?
Yes, and we're going to talk about those in a minute.
Okay. I had to send those separately because Dodo me forgot to put them in the box.
I got them. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I have them here. Yes, I do have them. I have them here. Oh, I do have them here.
The only ones I see are the ones attached to the sheet.
Okay, so thank you for saying that because I do have them here. Anyway.
I'm thinking, oh my gosh, did she not get them? Because I had to smell them separately. So
I have moved things around here today. I do. So, okay, I'm going to do this from the J guys. Thank you for saying that.
Okay. I was like, I'm going to get FedEx if they don't,
It's been one of those days for me. So, yeah. So, anyway, the J guides, I need to find those J guides real quick.
They're in a little white envelope. Are they? Do you have the white envelope somewhere?
No, but they are here. I have shifted things around, and maybe you can find them for me. They're in a little
where might they be at?
They could be in the table in there. They could be in a little box underneath here. I have them. But anyway, let me just show you what the J guys look like, everyone. That's why I brought you on. No. These are the little J guides, and they look exactly like a J guide. And I can't take these off of here. We'll see if we can find them. They're in a little plastic bag. Okay. Ken's looking for them, and I will bring them on here. I thought I laid them on the table, but okay. But they look like a little plastic J, and they do
look like a J. Yeah, that's exactly so.
Exactly right. Okay. All right. So once you go ahead and you put your spring and your stop inside of your tube, then it is time for you to take your shade, your fabric shade, and you will go ahead and you will stitch on your shade the J guides. And the J guides come in about 1 inch from each end. And then you will sew the rings. You have, the forever rings. I have those here on the table. And there's a guide on how many rings you should have on your shade. And it depends on the width. But the forever ring will, of course, be just like you're stitching on a regular ring. So I usually start about 3 inches from the bottom or 4 inches from the bottom.
Is that what that is?
There they are. I knew we had them.
You probably need this other stuff too, don't you?
No, I don't need that. Okay, I knew we had them. And so, but the ring, when you stitch on the ring is not going to go on the regular way we stitch a ring on. It is going to, you're going to put the ring on sideways. Let's see, I have this right here, so you can see it against the pink. Usually we sew our rings on like this. Well, these are going to go on sideways because you're going to take, and you're going to take your J guides. Put that in my hand, like this. And like I said, there's a little hole right here, and you're going to stitch them on each side of your shade. Okay. And then you're going to take your battens, and your batten is going to go into like the top of the J guide. But you're going to run it through the ring first. You're going to run it through the ring. And then if you've cut your batten down, go ahead and scrape off the paint from the end of the batten, because that helps it slide into the J guide. And then it slides into here. And this one's not going to go in because I didn't cut the paint off. I didn't really plan on giving you guys a step-by-step here, so. Okay, so it'll go into the side, and then of course you have a J guide on the other side, and the J guide will go on the other side. This will go into the J guide on the other side of the shade as well. Okay. Any questions so far?
There's probably 1,000 of them on there.
Okay, let's see.
So
Let me see real quick.
Scott was sitting on the mic. It wasn't us. It was him. That's what he said.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Okay, you can hear us. You can hear us. Okay. Good. Yes, the fabrication of how to put this together, this system together, is on the website. And hey, Sylvia. Hey, Mary. Good. Everyone can hear okay. And Carol in Michigan. Okay. Thanks, Scott. I'm glad your volume is good. And Gabriella watching from upstate New York. Hello. And Sylvia from Florida. And hey, Bill. Nice to have you on tonight. Okay.
So it looks like that goes in there about a solid 5/8 of an inch inside the J guide. So you got to peel that skin back that distance.
Yes, go ahead and peel it back. Let's see if we get close up here. So you can see that you can peel this white back a little bit, and then yes, it will poke right in, and it will go in a good almost a half of an inch in.
I think it's closer to 5/8. It's more than half inch.
Well, you're being very precise. That's good.
All right. So my question is, if I may.
Yes.
There's a hole in the J guide here. Does the threads go through there?
Yes, that's where the Ken asked. There's a little hole right here in the J guide. And let me get real close so you can see it.
And so that's what you attach to the face fabric.
Exactly. I don't know if you can see it.
So in relation to that hole, where does that ring go?
Can you see the little hole right there? That's what gets stitched to your shade. And the ring gets stitched to the back of the shade so that it will hold the batten up as it goes across the back of the shade. And since I have taken this apart, I can show you. Let me go to the other side here. Take it apart. Like I said, okay. And all I'm doing here is just taking these off of the J guide so you can see. All right, does that help? Can you all see here? Here's the J guide at 4 inches up on each side. The batten has gone inside, and right here in the center for this shade, there is a ring right here in the center, and the battens have gone through here.
Oh, so the rings are only in the middle.
Right, but if you have a wider shade, you're going to need more of the rings to put the battens through.
Right, but they're not. The rings aren't over by the J guide.
No, they are not.
Okay.
They're in the center. Okay.
That's where I was confused. Sorry.
Okay. Good question.
I don't know if anybody else was confused, but
Maybe.
so probably more likely just me.
Okay. Then once you have the spring and the stop in the tube, and you have sewn your J guides on and your rings, and have placed your battens through the ring and into the J guides on each side, then it is time to take the shade, the actual shade that you have fabricated, and you will lay that down on the table. And Jacqueline, you can jump in here with me.
Okay.
I'm going to get you on here. Let me get all this stuff off the table first. Because I certainly want to talk about the kits that you all have in a little bit as well.
Okay.
And the sale that you're having.
This also.
Yeah.
Kenny V stands for Vanna. I'm her assistant. So like Wheel of Fortune guy.
Awesome.
Then you will take your lift sheet, and it's got a tape on here. It's been a long day, y'all.
Amen to that, girl.
Woo!
Well, she's not feeling 100%, so I don't know why she just didn't do a little
It's
you know,
all right.
call out being sick.
Yes, I am. Haven't been feeling real well, so that's why I'm not. I don't feel like I'm on my game tonight because I haven't been feeling that well, but hopefully I'll be feeling better soon. Okay, so you have your lift sheet, and then at the bottom of your lift sheet, you're going to fold that up. You're just going to take that and you're going to fold it up and make sure that it stays square. And Jacqueline, I just fold this up probably about what, a good 2 inches.
Yeah, you can do 2 1/4, and then sew it right on the 2-inch mark, and then you're going to split that in half, of course, and sew right down the center.
Exactly.
So yeah, so then your acrylic rods will fit in there just perfectly.
Yes. So you're gonna push that up. Like you said, you know what? I probably do mine about maybe 2 1/4. Is that what you said? Yeah.
Yeah.
About the 2 1/4, and then you're gonna fold it up, and then you're gonna stitch right along this top edge here. I know it's white on white, so you can't see it, but where I put it up, you're just gonna take it and you're just gonna top stitch it down with white thread, and then like she said, halfway in between, go ahead and stitch again. This way you're creating pockets, and then inside the pockets, you're gonna place the acrylic rods inside of each of the pockets. Okay. Now I haven't really discussed anything about cutting down anything, but you certainly can, and you can. And Jacqueline, let's hold that thought toward the end and talk a little bit about, the importance of when you cut the lift sheet down, how it needs to be square, and then okay.
Okay.
And I know some people might have some questions about cutting down those springs. We're not going to go through how to do it, but to be very careful, okay, when doing it.
Right.
All right.
How do you cut the
We're gonna talk
wide
about
band? Just with a pair of scissors, or do you got something else?
Yes, we can cut it with a
Okay,
pair of
sorry.
scissors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has to be square. So we might as well address that now.
Okay, one thing that's kind of interesting, if you look on the tube, the aluminum tube, there are these little tiny embossed lines. Do you see the little embossed lines on the tube? Can you show that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to try this. Yes, see the little lines here?
Yeah. That is a beautiful line to put your edge of your shade on. Even though you're going to have that tape, you're going to undo that yellow, strip, and you're going to line up really the top of your shade. I would not trust that tape strip to line your shade up on, because I don't know that that's perfectly straight, but I know for a fact those embossed lines are put on by a machine and they are really, really straight.
Okay.
So when you line up, your shade to that, you need to make sure that it's literally perfectly on that embossed line, and then you won't have any problem about your shade raising and lowering perfectly.
Yeah. Let me see if I can turn it this way. Yeah. So, like I said, so now you have, let me just recap real quick. So what you've done, you have inside your tube, again, you have your spring, and always always put your spring on the left-hand side, again, and mark a little piece of tape if you need to, and then put your stop on this end, and then that's ready for this step. And then you're going to take your fabricated shade, and you're going to stitch on the J guides and the rings and add in your battens. And then now we're working on the lift sheet system, and you're going to put your pocket in the bottom. And I forgot one step. You're going to go ahead and make a pull tab. And the pull tab, then there are directions for it in the instructions, and then you go ahead and you will stitch it on into the center of where you've created the pockets for the acrylic rods. Okay. And then you're going to put your acrylic rods in, and then now you're going to take your tube, and like she said, you're going to, on the opposite end, of course, on the top, you're going to place it onto your lift sheet system, and you're going to line it up with the little grooves.
It's probably best to line it up on the other side of the double-sided tape.
Yes, it
Because
is.
double-sided tape's what's going to hold. The grooves are just so you line it up.
That's right.
So,
Okay. I usually put a little extra tape on mine. I don't think it's probably necessary.
Yeah.
But you know, you're never gonna your aluminum tube, because we give you more lift sheet than you actually need. You need to put at least, you know, 1 or 2 rotations of that lift sheet on there. So when the shade is all the way down, you don't have this ugly aluminum tube staring at your customer in the face.
Yeah.
So as long as you have, you know, a little bit of extra on there, you don't have to worry about that. But I usually use a little bit of like a frog tape or something sticky, masking, or
tape, yeah.
they make that really awesome aluminum tape too. You can use that and put just a couple little strips on there just to make sure everything's secure.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So you're going to.
I
There's.
got a comment. I do a lot of roller shades, and my experience is in addition to the double-sided tape that holds the fabric to the tube, they have the length of the shade is normally allows for 3 revolutions to go around in addition to the overall length, because the double-sided tape is not strong enough on its own to hold the fabric to the tube.
Right.
So the extra revolutions helps hold it to in place.
Yeah. And that's what she said. And so you'll take this. You're gonna go ahead and take this, you know, the yellow strip off of here, and it's a double stick tape, and then line this up with the groove. And like Jacqueline said, and I think what you're saying too, Ken, is to go ahead and add a little bit more tape on here, like a masking tape, or not a masking tape, but what's the heavy duty tape? We use the duct tape, a little bit of duct tape, or masking tape, or heavier tape. And then give your a little, like you're saying, 3 revolutions, Ken, right?
That's what most of the roller shades I deal with.
Okay. Okay, give 3 revolutions, and Jacqueline, you recommended at least, you know, a couple.
Yeah. You know, we usually give 12 inches, 10 to 12 inches more is what we, you know, cut the sheet will be 10 to 12 inches longer than what you need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And then once you do that, you will take your the brackets with, you know, the adjustable wheel, and you will place go ahead and screw them down into your dust cover, and then you'll place your tube into the brackets, and then you place it on the other side. And this is where you have to put one in, and then on the other end you put the bracket in, and then you have to screw it down. Is that correct, Jacqueline?
Yes, you can put the first bracket in before you put your tube or anything on your board.
Yeah.
But because we're not using the headrail, which, you know, we decided it's just better. I mean, it's so much easier, I think, to not use that headrail.
Yeah.
You have to get your everything in place, and then really the very last thing you do is put that other bracket on, and you have to screw that in at an angle.
Yeah.
You screw both sides. You need it's very helpful if you have an extended drill bit. Help me, Ken. Is that what you call it? An extended length on your drill?
Yeah, probably need at least a good 6-inch bit.
There we go. And then when you have that, it doesn't matter, because the tube won't get in the way. Then you can manipulate yourself around that tube, so you don't have to touch your tube or your lift sheet with that extra bracket.
Yeah.
So from my standpoint, it would make sense to have already designated the location of that bracket and have pre-drilled the screws, so you're not fighting to get the screws started, especially when you're coming in on an angle.
Good point, yeah.
Very good point from the installer extraordinaire over there, I tell you. He actually did my mom's whole house, and he did an amazing job.
Oh, stop. Don't stop.
Please, I have to live with it. So, okay, so everybody understand that, what Jacqueline said about putting the screws in a little bit at an angle?
On that second one.
Yeah, so if you have here and you're putting your screws in, your screw, this one, there's two holes, so you put one in this way, kind of at an angle, and the other one comes down this way. So they're kind of crossed over, but into the headrail.
Keeps the bracket oriented square.
Yes.
So it doesn't get twisted.
Okay, any questions, any comments? Let's see what we have. I'll bring you back, Jacqueline, if they have any questions for you as well.
Okay.
So Davidson and Kay Kim. And then we have Sarah Backwell from Cape Cod checking in. I love the Cape. And Kim's from Massachusetts, and Elaine from Central New Hampshire. We have a lot of New Englanders here tonight.
And Florida.
And Florida, New York. Okay, any questions so far? I think we've gone in a little bit more in depth than I thought we would, but it's good because I love this system. And again, being the only, real cordless system out there. And when we say cordless, remember at the top of the show, I said, we have the operating cords as well as the lift cords. And you don't see any of that with this shade. It's a spring system, okay? And I've taken it out of the J guides, but, And so once you have assembled it and put it onto your headrail, then you can go in and you can adjust your stops. And that's why you're getting them up here and turning this little wheel here to get your shade to stop where you want it to stop whenever it comes up.
So earlier you mentioned left orientation, right orientation.
Yep.
Are you talking about from the back of the shade?
That's what I said. Yep, from the back of the shade.
All right. So in your situation there, which one actually has control of the spring?
The left.
Okay.
And then in the right. And one more thing I want to mention too, and I had a question on this, is with the J guides. Remember when we make this pocket and you have the two acrylic rods inside, then the first J guide will go in between those two acrylic rods on each side. Let me come over here. Okay, because that's what keeps it. Of course, it goes way down here. And because that is kind of where it holds, this J guide just kind of holds it as you go, so that the shade and the lift sheet will come up and go up and down at the same time. Okay? Any questions?
It was awkward to use the shade over the bathroom tub unless it's motorized, correct?
Yes. Now, this, as we talked about earlier, let me do this now. Yes, it could be a little bit awkward if you don't want to jump in the tub, but I think no matter what you have over a tub, could be a little bit awkward because you almost have to jump in the tub and either pull a chain or to do the spring system. So motorized probably is the way to go. And we're going to talk about the motorized version of the wideband lift sheet in about probably in about a couple of weeks. We're going to go through this. And we'll talk about that it is motorized. We're running out of time, so Jacqueline, I want to talk a little bit about how people can order this from you. It comes in kits, and you have 3 size kits, right? 36, 48?
We do. We have actually, we have several different options that you can choose. We have the 3-foot wide kit. It comes in both blackout or the 10% openness. Both of those have the medium spring in them. And then we have the 48-inch wide kit that comes with the medium or the large spring, either one. And then we have a 6-foot kit that comes with the large spring.
Okay.
And they all come in either blackout or 10% openness. We've added that blackout, and that has been so awesome. I mean, it's been very popular. We've had everybody calls and says, "Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I don't have to worry about pinholes of light, none of that anymore." So the blackout has been a really good addition, I think, to what we had, earlier with just the 10% openness.
Okay, yeah. And I've had folks ask me too, should they go ahead and line their shade with blackout as well? And I went ahead and said yes. I mean, you have to fabricate your shade anyway, and you're going to have to put a lining in there. So
Right.
I would just say yes. Go ahead and line your shade with the blackout, because there is a little space right here, where the lift sheet hits the back of the fabric. But so if you put the blackout in, you can let their blackout run to the end of your fabric. It couldn't hurt. Would you agree?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think most everyone that has used the system, they all do line their shade. Most
Okay.
everybody that hit, because I think you do still need body in
Yes.
the front of the shade, because it is folding,
Mhm.
and I think you want a little body in there, and so it just looks nice from the inside.
And you have a sale going on right now too.
We actually have a sale on all of our motorized kits.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, the wideband, we actually had a sale in February on that. But I tell you what we can do is, if, we can offer a 10% off for anyone that's watching your show
Okay.
tonight.
Great.
And you just have to call us and mention Live with Sandra V,
Okay.
and we'll gladly offer that 10% off any kit that you want for the CordlessPRO, and so they can at least try the system. I think you'll just love the system. It's the first one, just like with any system that you do, the very first shade that you have, there's a little bit of a learning curve, but this one has a slight learning curve, but once you get it all figured out and get your battens all cut and everything and filed down on the ends, you're good to go. It's a lot less sewing of rings, and because there is no cord, so
Yeah.
yeah,
I
we've
think
had a good response on it.
yeah. I think it's a great system. Obviously, I've used it, and thank you for offering that discount to the viewers. I appreciate that. That was a surprise. Nice
Now
surprise.
we'll have to call in, because there's
Okay.
our online. There's no way that they can really put a code in or anything like that. So they'll have to call and talk to either myself or Jessica, Miss Jess, and just just mention Live with Sandra V, and we'll be glad to offer that 10% off for everyone
Great.
on the CordlessPRO. Yeah.
And one thing I said that we mentioned and we didn't, and you can cut the springs down. And I say that lightly because I personally have not tried to do it yet, but I'm looking forward to doing it because I'm intrigued all about it. But if you feel the need to have to cut a spring down because you want a smaller shade, there are instructions on the website, but you must remember there are limits to that of how you cut it down. So don't
Right.
just go in there and start chopping your spring down because you want a shade that's 10 inches wide. No, don't do that. Okay, Jacqueline, if I can say this, let them reach out to you because there are limits to that. And so just be careful, okay? Right.
Yeah.
So.
And we've had, good luck with everyone that's cut the spring down. They, cut usually the medium spring is what they're cutting down to make a smaller shade. Right now the medium spring, the shade is, what will fit in the tube is almost a 35-inch wide shade. So if you need something, in the 20s, you can definitely do that. And cutting the spring down, I have done it, and it was not hard. It really wasn't. Like anything, I was a little nervous. I thought, oh my gosh, when I take this off, is the spring gonna go? But it didn't at all. It was very easy to do.
Yeah. Now, do you want to say out loud what maybe the minimum that you could cut it down would be, or do you?
Well, we've had just recently someone cut one down.
Yes.
Miss Cleo cut one down to 22 inches. She did a 22-inch wide shade, and it worked fantastic.
Yeah.
So I have not heard of anyone cutting cutting it down any lower than 22 inches. I'm sure, if anyone knows of anybody that can cut it down any further than that, I probably wouldn't go much further than 22. They do have a smaller spring that is available, and there is something else coming, coming soon. That's going to be a little bit smaller.
Okay.
But I still don't think it's going to be 24 inches or anything like that. But I think, they're going to have a smaller spring that we can get that lifts more than what the small spring lifts right now,
Okay.
which we're not even carrying the small spring because it only lifts 6 pounds.
Yeah. And I think I think when we get into, even though we want it smaller, even the weight, if our shades are fabric and lined and inner line, that is, we don't want to get into something like that and it not lift our shade. So,
Right. So cutting the medium spring down is better because you have more oomph behind it.
Yeah. Using the minute. Okay. Any other questions real quick? Let's see. Hello, Melanie. Can you use this with motorized? Yes. Sarah, yes. And I'm going to talk about the motorized version of this in a couple weeks. But yes, this does come motorized. If you need one right away, then definitely go on to the Safety Shade website and look at that.
Maybe she was referring to the discount?
No, there is the motorized is on sale right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Yeah.
The motorized is about 20% off right now. We're offering $50 off a kit for motorization. But anyone that watches, and they mention that they watch Live with Sandra V, if they want to try this spring-loaded system, we'll be glad to offer 10% off on that.
Yes. And hi, Sandy Scott. She's watching. How are you? And Josie, how are you? Always love it when these people come back and watch us. And Mary said, are there any color options of the lift fabric? No, it only comes in you consider it just white for both the blackout as well as the regular 10% openness, right?
That's correct. They're kind of a soft white, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
And that may be due to a lot of homeowner associations' covenants trying to keep the curb appeal consistent when people do put shades. So the back of the shade is all consistent. You don't have purple ones on one house and pink on another house.
Yeah, that's true. He's always thinking. Anyway, I'm sure we're over time a few minutes here. But I want to say thank you to you, Jacqueline, for being here tonight. And
oh my gosh, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah. And I just want to say that I think if you all were here last week, if you've been seeing the on my page there, that I have started to offer online live training sessions. And I just want to talk about that for a few moments if anyone is interested. And basically, what this means is that you can learn from the comfort of your own workspace or your home. Once you sign up for the class, you'll have access to a very private group. And on the day of training, I will be here live training you. You'll get, like I said, wide angle views and close-up views. You'll be able to ask me questions. And the best part about this is that it will be recorded. And the students will have access to the recordings and to the group for 2 weeks. And only 2 weeks because us creative people, we are procrastinators. And I want you to be successful. And I want you to complete your project. And the only way to do that is said after 2 weeks, we're done, okay? But if you do feel like that you need the recording for a longer time, that students can purchase that recording of their class for a nominal fee and have access to it for up to a year. I have already put 3 classes out on the website, and they're Roman shades because I do 99.9% Roman shades in here, and the other half or 0.% is panels. But anyway, I have a Roman shade class with the RBS forestry system that's going to be on May 3rd. May 4th, I will be giving a stationary Roman shade class. And on May 17th, I will be giving a class on the cordless, this system right here. Okay, the CordlessPRO, a wideband lift sheet. So you will learn how to fabricate the shades, the method that I use, and that is going to include the continuous returns, and like I said, the method that I use, as well as the particular headrail system that is associated with that class. The headrail systems are included in the price, and once you sign up and the order is placed, the systems will be shipped directly to you, so that you will have ready the day of class. What I ask of you is that you just take that day as a learning day and be committed, and let, like I said before, your family and your friends know that you're investing your time into your, whether it's your business or maybe if it's something that you just want to learn. You know, that's a day of training for you, and set aside that day. We'll have breaks during the day. I will be able to go in live, and you'll be able to ask me questions. So if you're interested, just go to my website, livewithsandrav.com, and I will be posting more classes. I've had a lot of good response. Class size is limited, and I'm telling you, I've already had a great response, and people are already signing up. But I will be offering more, and there's a form there, and some of you have been really kind and have been sending me suggestions, and I will be adding more classes, not just Roman shades, but panels and valances, and whatever you all have, if there's enough interest for. Let's put it that way. Okay, everyone, thank you for being here. I appreciate all of you coming each week, and next week we will still be on the spring system. I'm going to talk about the Easy Spring Plus system, and there's also another system that's new out there, and hopefully I will have it in-house by then and be able to show you as well. Okay, thanks for hanging in there with me tonight, and we will see you all next week.